welcome back to another episode of Faith Over Fear podcast. For today's episode, I'm very excited because I feel like this episode, I'm excited for what the topic will be. And I feel like this is something that I knew that I needed to hear. And you guys are going to see, based on our guests that we're going to have today, you guys are going to see why I'm saying this. And we're going to go ahead and talk about, different aspects in spiritual walks. So let's just go ahead and bring him in.
Hello, I'm Ramses. 25 years old. I live in Garland, from Dallas area. I do different things, but overall, I'm a servant of God. Serve a church, serve whatever you need. I'm here.
Yes, amen. No, that's good. And yeah, because I feel like at least just like I always mention it, whenever it comes to district, we all know each other from many years, you know what I mean? So I've been knowing you as the bass player in district. That's something that I know you as well, because I haven't been to your local church because you go to the church in Arlington, and yes. So we have been because of they host district events in the past. Yeah. But yeah, so just like I mentioned, we know you as kind of a musician and that aspects, but we want to hear your testimony. You know what I mean? I want to hear what led to who you are today, what led to your ministry and all that. So wherever you want to start us off, you can go ahead.
Well, from the beginning of times.
Yeah.
I was. So to give you more background, let's go way back.
Yeah.
So I was born and raised throughout my childhood as a PK, a pastor's kid.
Oh, okay.
My dad was a pastor for 13 years. So basically, when I was born, he started his pastoral career.
Oh, okay.
And we moved throughout different cities, and it was kind of different childhood for me, since I was always moving from different school. In kinder, I had 2-3 kinder, kinders where I moved to, and when I started elementary school, it was 2 or 3 también. And up until middle school, unfortunately, his pastoral career had ended. Things changed. That's whenever. Then actually, that's one of the break points where it kind of got changed. The path that he had for my life.
Yeah.
But so throughout all my childhood, it was mostly observing my parents observing everything within church, just seeing ministries develop. And I feel like that's something that stuck with me, even though I was not a PK anymore, because it was done. I feel like that's a seed that was just put in me, right? So even after that, I just started serving God. So when I was 13, my parents divorced, and my mom kept custody of me and my 2 little brothers. And we moved to different cities, and since then, it was kind of starting from zero, right?
Yeah.
You go to a different church, you know nobody. And you know what? That's funny, because that's where my musician career started. Not career, my musician ministry started.
Yeah.
I know I said musician career. The ministry started.
Yeah.
Because they needed a bass player, and they didn't have a bass player. And it's funny, because every bass player I know, they was I started because they didn't have a bass player, and that's basically me también.
Yeah.
That's me. That's how my ministry started. So I started playing there. I was 15 years old, 2015, up to 3 years later. I was serving there for 3 years, and I kind of felt a little stuck. I feel like I reached to a certain ceiling, because I feel like I wanted to do more. I wanted to, just know more people. Because you could just kind of just be with the same people, and you kind of grow to a certain level where you need to move things around. And that's whenever my district ministry came on. I remember one Sunday, at the time it was Osvaldo Castañeda Jr.
Yeah.
He was the director, and then he showed up to my church, and then they were like, we need a bass player. I was listening to you, and you seem to be doing pretty good. So I guess we'll try you one time, and we'll see from there. So I was on the más o menos. That's where it started my bass ministry, musician ministry. I don't know how to call it. It's kind of awkward, how to call it. But that's one way I was serving at church.
Yeah.
And after that, I mean, just made friends along the way. In
Mhm.
district, that's where I met one of my fellow musicians, like Michael and Angel Banda,
Mhm.
Andrew, Ruben.
Yeah.
I met a lot of people, and
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
también I met Jonathan, Matthew. Like you know,
Mhm.
I started making friends from there,
Yeah.
and it's just like kind of everything expanded from there.
Mhm.
And well, it's been like 6 7 years serving in
Mhm.
district,
Mhm.
and I feel very blessed.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. And it's funny because the way that like you portray yourself, it's like so humbling. Like I feel
Yeah.
like someone can feel comfortable with you. So whenever you said like, oh, I started developing these friendships, you know, like it wasn't a surprise because, you know, we develop a friendship, you know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
feel like I'm someone that's kind of awkward. So if I'm able to develop a friendship with you, that means that I feel comfortable with you
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you project that, you know what I mean? And it's funny because one of the things that I want to say about you is that you're a funny person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're funny. I feel like whenever we're conversating, we're always like joking, laughing, you
Mhm.
know. So that's a really good thing because that's how you make someone feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny because for some reason, I don't know if you're gonna remember this, but you remember Jocelyn Nell's her birthday party
I
at
think
Bar
so.
Springs?
Yes,
I remember it was
that.
you, Michael, and I think Angel was there, and you guys were just joking. But this was my first time like hanging out with them.
First impression.
Yes, my
Oh,
first
for real?
impression, yes. And you guys were like having me in tears. Like it
That's
was so
funny.
funny. Like that's why I had to mention it because you know that's how you guys are.
Yeah.
Whenever you guys are together,
Yeah, always.
you guys be cracking like the
That's
funniest
funny that
jokes.
you say that because I feel like I know you, we know each other
Yeah.
comes like church, you know, but I feel like I just started just cracking jokes with you, and I'm
Yeah.
like, we don't even know each other like
Yeah,
that. Like,
yeah.
you
Just
probably
like-
think
just
so
like that.
weird. But it's like you just give that
You
like
just click immediately.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
It's just
We share the
like-
same humor.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
No, yeah.
No,
But
yeah.
I remember that I was like, wait, why did I just do that? He probably thinks I'm weird. But it was just like natural.
Yeah, I felt so like organic. You
Yeah,
know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So that was pretty cool. But yeah, that's pretty cool how like it happened, you know, both in your local church and then like in
Mhm.
district, they just
Yeah.
happened to need like that bass player. So you learned at a very young age. So then up to 15, that's whenever you were able to like play it pretty good.
Yes, I was started in childhood, just
Okay.
basically like you know,
Yeah.
it's just kind of
Mhm.
they just had me there to like
Yeah.
do stuff. But after you know, we had like different events, local
Yeah.
events, and there was such a blessing. But it's where he pushes you to like
Yeah,
learn,
yes.
be better, do more.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And I suppose the friendships I developed, I've learned a lot through them. We don't only joke around.
Yeah,
you know?
no, yeah.
Actually,
Disclaimer,
yeah.
no.
Yeah, disclaimer. We
Yes.
should also learn from
Yeah.
each other. But yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah,
I know
no,
what you
yeah.
mean because every time I hang out with them, is like there's never a dull moment with them.
yes.
Yeah, it's always doing something. Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
like a long time in Waco, we play at a local service from youth ministries.
Mhm.
And I remember it was the whole band. We just went there to help them out because I something about because they were bringing more youth.
Mhm.
And I remember we went because we needed like parts for the drum set for Irving,
Yeah.
and we went to Guitar Center.
Mhm.
And
Okay,
we went
yeah.
there. We just went there, and you just see everybody like spread around. Like,
Mhm.
you know, Angel se va los drums, Michael se va los pianos. Like
Mhm.
everybody spread around, and
Yeah.
I remember I went to try out bass, and at the time I didn't have a bass, so I was borrowing the one from their church,
Mhm.
and you know, I was just playing the bass, and everybody just like gathered around, and like, oh, hey, you should get that one.
Mhm.
Like I don't know, because I wasn't working at the time.
Yeah,
I
and
was
they're
in college.
expensive
They're
too.
expensive,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
At the time I was dumb broke
Yeah.
because I was in college.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So like you should buy, like, you know what? I don't know, and everybody was peer pressuring me,
Yeah.
Mm.
and well, I came out with a new bass that day.
They
Oh,
peer
wow. And I-
pressured you
It
too.
was trenes and
Wow,
at the
that's
service.
awesome.
Yeah,
Praise
And
God.
you know, that's some like core memory I have from that.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
awesome because it's like you didn't know, but
Yeah.
like you knew.
Yeah.
You know? Like it was happening for a
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And even though like you could say it's like peer pressure, but in a way you can like just like
They,
you're
like-
growing, they
yeah,
push you to
yeah.
do stuff like
No, that's
commit
awesome.
to your ministry,
yeah.
just become better at what you do.
Yeah.
And that's an awesome example of like having good community. Like they kind of
Yes.
pushed you to like
Yeah.
take that leap, you know,
Yeah.
to like, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
love
because
that
if I was
story.
going by myself, trust me, I
Yeah.
wouldn't.
Yeah, you would've been like,
nah,
no.
No, they were like, you're getting that bass.
Yes.
No, that's pretty cool. And like, because just like I mentioned in the introduction, like I want to talk about yesterday's service. We were able to be a part of Barge Springs. They had a youth service. For us, it's yesterday, so we're recording on a Saturday, so they had a Friday night service. And I was like, what a coincidence, because you're a musician, and the topic of the preaching was, being free, but he was touching on the book of Second Kings chapter 3, like that entire chapter the pastor was focusing on, and he was talking about, hopefully I pronounce this correct, because even like Daniela had mentioned in the previous episode, tañedor, and he said that it means musician, so it means that this musician, God used him to bring down his presence, because right during that time there was a desert and God filled it with water, but he used a musician to be able to para que Dios se pueda glorificar in his presence to be brought down. So he kind of gave like, obviamente that wasn't like the main topic, but I was like, what a coincidence that we're having a musician at our, at our podcast. So I kind of want to talk about that a little bit, of like the importance of being used as like musicians, as and then also being used as vessels, because he was like, it is important, whenever we use musicians, but at the end of the day, we all have a voice, we all have hands that, what simply being a musician is, or having that ministry, it's just simply being worshipers, being vessels for God to come down and fill us with his presence, because that's why, Daniela was mentioning, like, we have to make sure that we're going with like a pure heart, that we're going with, those intentions of being used as vessels, because we don't know what God is going to do that night in the worship. So I kind of want to talk about, a little bit like that, like how do you like prepare yourself, because I know that whenever it comes to, that ministry, there's big blessings, but there's also spiritual warfare. So how do you like maneuver that?
Well, it always, the only way that I was prepared is just there's two sides, right? The spiritual side and the technical side. On the technical side, it's very simple. Just learn your stuff, prepare, because everything you do for the Lord is you have to do with excellence.
Yes.
You can just try to learn, but and don't like have the discipline to practice like what you have to do, your songs and whatnot, right? And it has to come to a point where whenever you play or you sing, or it's not just a performance, but you have to like portray that. You gotta portray that what you're sure what you do, almost like walking, like you play like if you were walking, like it comes natural. That way you're able to focus on the presence. Porque you can't, it's kind of hard. And even I don't know if anybody has tried like to play and sing at the same time. It's not easy. You have to kind of like concentrate on both. But whenever you're disciplined on your ministry, you're disciplined on what you have to do and on your part, on your role, you're disciplined and get that prepared, then you're able to kind of focus on the presence.
That's a good point.
That's
you
a
have
really
to,
good point.
in that way you can portray, because you're portraying the way you stand on stage, the way even if you pour out your praise, you sing along with everybody else, but you're doing your part. It influences to the people. And it's not that you want to influence, you want to portray that, right? So that's one way I can approach that. Just get prepared, because everything you do is with excellence, and that way you also portray the presence of the Lord. You influence, you pour into people, because God is gonna pour into you, and you pour into people. So it goes this way. And
That's pretty cool. I like how you emphasize, just like you said, there's a spiritual aspect, but there's also a physical aspect that sometimes us as someone that I don't have a ministry, up in, I guess we can say, the pulpit or the stage, but sometimes it's true, like in order for you to be able to get in the spirit, you kind of need to know how to train your physical body, because I feel like anything when it comes to ministry, you have to submit your flesh, and submitting your flesh is putting discipline in the practices, putting discipline in making sure that I guess you can perfect it as much as you can with playing, because whenever you're up there, God needs your spirit, and your flesh just needs to kind of like submit. You know what I mean? So that's a really cool. Like, I love that you kind of like emphasize that different side of it.
It was really eye opening, because I feel like, I mean, I am the MD for the English service at my church, and I feel like it just kind of happened. Like, I don't have music background or anything, and I feel like it started off really good, but like I mentioned on the previous episode, I kind of fell in like a comfort place. And I feel like there's set lists, back-to-back set lists, you know, like I don't know every song, and it gets a little hard, but the way that you were saying, like you have to put that like discipline, and I was just like, wow, because I feel like I'm having this awakening moment, and I feel like I just needed to hear that. It was just so intentional. But
and it's true, to add on to what you said, because also my mom, she's getting into the music ministry, so she's
That's
singing.
good.
So she doesn't know, because like the way that they started was just very out of nowhere. So the songs that they wanted her to play, she knew them, but not like thoroughly, like we're to the point where you don't need the lyrics in front of you. So the way that she does it, so she has to wear glasses in order to be able to read, so she's like singing but looking at it. And I told my mom, and even the piano player was like, you need to learn the lyrics, that way you can get into the spirit. And I told the same thing to my mom. I was like, the importance of knowing the lyrics is because you don't look free up there, so you're not able to, you know, be used to minister to other people. So then she did that, you know, she was like, okay, so yeah, she practices during the week, and like, or like her practice is listening to the lyrics, so she puts it in her car and all that. So she's like putting more empeño, but she was like, this is no joke. She was like, this is no joke, this is something where it's like serious, and if this is something that you're saying yes to, is because you have to put in the spiritual, but just like you said, also in the physical, learning the lyrics, because that way I don't have to worry about reading it. I just have to worry about like ministering, and just worrying about, you know, God's presence being you know,
fully present.
yes, exactly. And so like with that, how do you stay like consistent? Like what kind of like helps you to like continue on with your spiritual aspect and also the physical aspect?
For example, let's say when it comes to my on a way you can call it craft, or your ministry, like either singing or playing, I see it as an offering. You know, you prepare your offerings, just like Cain y Abel. You know, one of them pues cuidaba de su ofrenda, creo que de su ganado, if I'm not mistaken. O sea, los cuidaba, and then se los entregas a Dios. So that way, I see it that way. If you prepare throughout the week, you get everything throughout the week, and Sundays is whenever you give it to the Lord, you know. And it depends what you're gonna give. Are you gonna give something mediocre, or are you gonna give something that you prepared, you just was ready for it? And so I say like in both ways, you know, because that's the spiritual side. Is offering to God is something you prepare for Him, and well, the discipline that you have to do, you gotta learn your parts. And also, well, of course you have to pray. As I call that, like, I don't say it as aloud, because that's should be a non-brainer,
right?
You know, like praying, fasting. That's a must that you always have to have in the background and present. You know, because throughout the week, if you're not pouring to Spirit either, you're not gonna pour out into the congregation.
It's pretty cool. I like how your goal is, I want to give my best to God. That's how you stay consistent, wanting, just like having that mindset where it's like He deserves the best, so let me put my body and my flesh and my spirit into discipline, so whenever I'm up there, I give Him my best. So that's really cool. I love hearing this.
I know.
But what I like about this conversation is that you're giving a different aspect. You're giving something different, you know, because just like Crystal said, we always mention every podcast, you know, which is, at least for us, like I feel like we always need it, because sometimes it can be a new viewer, or they need to hear that. But I also love your perspective, because it's like, oh, like you're shining light into something where it's like we just see someone up there, but in reality there's more than just like, obviamente the importance is the prayer and the fasting and reading your word, but there's also an importance of like making sure you're doing it right, because you're doing it for God, and He deserves the best, both spiritually and also in physical aspect. That's pretty good.
I love having your point of view too, because I feel like, I mean, we just see you playing the bass.
I just show up.
So that's all we see, you know?
This guy again.
But it's like, I feel like hearing your perspective really just opened up a whole nother understanding in my brain, you know? And I know that it's also like helping, it's not just like musicians, like we all have a ministry, we all have something we do, but I feel like your point of view is really shining light to like the ministerial part of it.
Ministerial, and also the administrative part of it, because whenever you said sometimes it's not the musical aspect, because even I mentioned this before, in Bible college they literally just dedicated a whole class with knowing how to administrate, knowing how to form a program, how to use Excel to create a service. You know what I mean? So you're like, you know, you're saying it true, you know, you're also like saying so it's kind of like you're emphasizing that in the music aspect, where it's like, it's
Yeah.
true, we need to be disciplined in every aspect, like be as balanced as we can. No
Mhm.
puedes poner mucho aquí and then like
Yeah.
this one's gonna go down, you know, and you
Yeah.
can't do much of the physical because the spiritual needs to also like align with that. So that's
Mhm.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
And like, you know, going with this whole journey with like your music ministry, like has there, or maybe not even just in the music aspect, but in your, you know, spiritual walk in, you know, in general, has there been like a moment where God has like blessed you more than what you asked for? Like, has there been a moment where you're like, wow, like I did not expect this because you exceeded what I even asked for?
Oh, definitely. Many times. I could never. I probably this podcast would last like 2 hours
Yeah.
about it. But moments are like God has put people in my life. Well, sometimes just it could be something very casual.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It can as casual as it gets. God can do great things.
Mm-hmm.
I've met people. For example, right now, whenever we moved to IGQC con Pastor Tames,
Mm-hmm.
I remember we had like a carnival. We were there like 3 months, 4 months in, barely starting there. And they had like a carnival type of stuff. Like it was outside. It was for
Yeah.
ministry. So whoever
Mhm.
wanted to like serve on singing could just go there and
Mhm.
register.
Mhm.
Wanted to go serve
Yeah.
an usher, just go there, register. And I remember we had like a booth for kind of like to perform or just show you, like say if you wanted to sing, you can go there and just try to sing. You just put on like any song you want, just put it there, right?
Mhm.
And I remember this family showed up. I haven't seen them before, like at church, so they showed up, and I remember they just the guy, el papá de la
Mhm.
familia, he showed up and he was like, y se presentó y saludó al pastor, o sea, everything formal.
Yeah.
And then he came up to me because I was serving a sound at the time. I was doing I was mixing
Yeah.
at the time, so they had me in charge of the sound system there, so everything could work fine.
Mhm.
He showed up and he was like, okay, I'm gonna send you this. I'm gonna sing a song. Nomás está la secuencia, just de like mucho la pista, you know.
Mhm.
So I got it ready, I prepared, y pues you know, a veces como llegan hermanos a la iglesia que te pone la pista y y le siguen así, okay, fue más o menos así.
Mhm.
Entonces I put the song and I remember I was shocked because he sang really good. Like he kind of performed like an artist in a way, you would say,
Yeah.
right? But he was very humble. Whenever he talked to me, he was very humble. And after that, he was like very nice. Asked for my name. We make like I made a friendship. Something that was like casual. I was not expecting at all, especially because they showed up to that
Yeah.
event we had. Like that was just nothing. Well, moving forward, sure. long
Story
short.
Yeah.
Well, they were there for a good while. They
Mhm.
moved to a different church, but we kept in touch. Few months later, he calls me and he tells me, "Hey, I have a project going on. I have a video recording. I'm making this song, and I already showed it to your pastor, and he approved of the lyrics. Like he was working on that song really hard, and where the church he was going at, he met Pastor Daniel Calvetti, La Niña de Tus Ojos,
Oh, okay.
the singer.
Yeah.
Him, que él lo conoció a él y le presentó la canción, and he asked him to like he wanna have a featuring on his song.
Oh, wow.
So he got it. He said yes, and then he calls me and he's like, "Oh, I wanna record a video,
Yeah.
and I want you to be part of it. I want you to play the bass. You just have to come and show up, and it's gonna happen this day and that." And I was like, "Whoa, hold on, are you like is Daniel Calvetti?" Like it was somewhat that you could just not imagine that would happen if you haven't met this person.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
so
awesome.
that's one opportunity. So that happened. Months later, the video was posted. It had like like 100,000 of views. That's such a moment where God kind of like made a move. And it's not as spiritual, but it's those are opportunities. One of them, one of the many He has given me, and I'm just thinking, shocked, like, wow, how does this even happen?
Yeah, that's so true. Cause like, it because you're like the way that you were able to like portray your ministry, it went out of the four walls.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like sometimes we kind of like stay within ourselves. So it was pretty cool that God gave you the opportunity to like network, and it turned out to give you this opportunity where it can reach people that, you know, maybe are not in the church or a different like, you know, domination or whatever like the case is. So that's pretty cool. Because like, yeah, like I know that I was seeing that you were part of like other projects.
Yeah.
Is it like the same group or has it been different groups?
Yeah, actually, well, yeah. It's so this person, his name is Ricky.
Oh,
Ricky
yes,
Halley.
yeah.
Yeah, he's the one kind of like the head of the band, right? So he's been working with different people, and I remember at the beginning he started including us on part of his job because he works at Enlace.
Okay.
Like the channel, the Christian channel, you seen it? So he works there, so he knows cameras, he knows graphics. He started helping out at church. After I met him, he was included out of church. He was working on different projects, and everything started there because he needed help. And sometimes he would like rent an our Airbnb just to kind of be able to record part of the sections that needed for Enlace, and I will go help him out. And after a while, that's whenever that happened.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I feel like God saw your determination. He knows your heart, and he saw your faithfulness, and that was just fruit. You know, like he made that connection possible because of like what you were pouring into him, you know, and that's just beautiful because God is faithful. You know, if you have a pure heart, pure intentions, and if you solemnly seek God and want his glory to be shown to everyone, like he's gonna open doors that we have no idea were even possible.
Oh yeah, definitely, especially whenever you have the hunger of serving or doing more. I don't know if he like God sees that. If you want to serve, you want to do more, he knows. And that's whenever he shows these opportunities, it depends on you, because I could easily just be like, nah, I'm busy, I'm gonna go out with my friends or do something else, right? But whenever you're focused on something you're passionate about, it's better if it's on the ministry, better if it's on the Lord's work. I think it's whenever like good things starts to develop, you know. So yeah, just having the hunger for me, that's what has like given me better opportunities. And so far I'm still getting blessed. I'm still surprised because I'm not deserving of those opportunities, to be honest. If I'm honest with you, I'm not deserving, but he's good to me.
No, that's true. I mean, so that, I mean, it's really good because you just emphasize right now where it's true. Like, you know, sometimes we're like, wow, Lord, like I'm not worthy, but yet you have me here. But I love how like you're listening to God, where it's like, because you know the enemy's always going to fill us with those lies, but I love that you're listening to God, where it's like, okay, God, if you're having me in this opportunity, then let's go. You know what I mean? Because you have me here for a reason.
And I feel like sometimes I feel like in my case, like you'll be doing something and then you start feeling doubt. You know, I don't know if that's ever happened to you, but I feel like I start feeling doubt, and then I'm like, I don't even sing good, like this is horrible, you know. And I feel like, how do you, if that's happened to you, like how do you navigate that?
Oh no, there's no other way. If God chose you to do it, he did it for a reason. He could have given that opportunity to somebody else, but nobody with the same hunger that you had.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Wow. That's really cool.
No, because there's going to be times in ministry where you literally, like, the warfare is real. It's real stuff. And sometimes you hear it and you're like, yeah. And I feel like sometimes even in your walk, you don't realize that it's warfare. It's just happening, you know, and they're real emotions. They're real feelings you're feeling, you know. But I like that you said, like, if you are chosen, if God chose you, then, like, nothing can stop it, you know?
Yeah, like, there's technically no right or wrong way there, as long as you have a willing heart and then, you know, the discipline. Because, like, it just kind of took me back with, like, leading worship. Like, and at the time I was just like, oh, like, you know, how am I gonna do it? Like, am I even the right person to do this? Because, like, you've seen other people do it, and I was like, oh, why weren't they asked? But it's like, oh, you know, if he asked me, it's because I don't have to be perfect at it. I just have to have a willing heart and let him be the one taking control of it. So that's a pretty good good example of, like, you know. And it's good because, like, it just shows, like, you know, because sometimes like we need to have that confidence in ourselves. Sometimes we need to speak life into ourselves because like, you know, yes, we have to have a humble heart, but we also have to be like, well, if God chose me to do this, then, you know, I'm going to do it the best that I can. And, you know, but also speaking that, you know, positivity in your life as
Yes.
well.
Like looking to God and having that confidence in Him, you know, because I feel like I've had this recent season where I'm like, I literally can't do anything without you. Like sometimes you
Yeah.
get comfortable and you're like, oh, like we're going. But
Yeah.
then I feel like God just took me through this journey where it's like, you can do that because I let you, I'm leading
Yeah.
you, you know, and
Yeah.
it's like,
Let it happen.
wow, yeah. And then it just made me realize like, wow, like I really cannot do anything
Yeah.
without you. Like I need to be intentional in my seeking of you, you know, because I feel like it's really easy to get comfortable. And we've talked about it a lot on here, but I mean, even if you're doing everything right, like it can still be a place of comfort, you know? And sometimes God will make you uncomfortable so you can realize like, whoa.
Oh yeah. So you don't take things for granted.
Yeah. And
Don't
I
take
feel
his
like
blessings for granted.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
that's something
real.
that you gotta, one has to learn like to have
Mhm.
in mind. You know, because let's say you are given these opportunities, but then at some point you're gonna start turning things down.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I don't think you're going to making the most out of these opportunities
Yeah.
because small church and like even if you serve in small churches, big churches, or anything, it's you're serving the Lord.
Yeah.
You're serving the Lord, serving
Yeah.
the same Lord here
Yeah.
or there.
Thank you for saying that because I'm someone that comes from a really small church. So sometimes it's like, oh, like probably if I ask this person, they're not going to want to do it because they're not going to play to a bigger church. You know what I mean? Sometimes I feel that insecurity where it's like, but whenever I see the support of others of like, hey, they don't care about the numbers, just like you said, the Lord is in the small church, the Lord is in the big church. Like, don't. Like I don't put importance of like, oh, I'm not gonna go because you don't have a big church. Like it's like you're saying no to God in a way, you know. So you know, for me, that's something beautiful. Like whenever I go to other local churches and I see, like for example, you were there yesterday and I saw the support and I was like, wow, like I love it whenever other people in different churches, you know, with the permission of their pastors, go and support because it's just like myself, I don't have musicians, so whenever someone comes and takes time out of their day and comes and supports another church, like for me, like you're gonna be in that list of where like I'm gonna appreciate you for the rest of my life kind of thing, you know, because it's like you're supporting me, you're supporting my pastor, you're supporting the people that I care the most, you know what I mean? And then most of all, you're doing it for God, so it just shows a person. If just like you said, if they don't look about the numbers, they don't look about what's going on. And if I can be open and honest about this, like even with our like even with this season, like obviamente, like what we're doing, it's not for the numbers, it's just something that God put in our heart and it's a ministry to us. But at the end of the day, sometimes we're like, oh, is a guest gonna want to say yes, you know what I mean? Like is it something where they're gonna be like, oh, you know what I mean? But the way that every single person has said yes has been so beautiful because they're like the way that their response, you know, their response, even your response, I'm like, wow, like their excitement and you know their willingness to do it, like for me it's just like I cherish it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I'm very glad. I have this podcast because you're giving a voice to the persons that are serving. We see each other at churches, at district services, but we don't always have the time to like express our testimonies or express our griefs or express everything, even though we should, since we have to have fellowship with each other. But there's not always opportunity to share with somebody that we don't know. So I like, for example, I don't know who's gonna watch it, or you don't know who, like maybe someone that I don't know is gonna watch it, because that has happened to me. So for example, I remember going to I don't know what service it was, but they came to me like, hey, I saw you in the video. I never we never spoke to each other like that. They said, hey, I saw you on the video, like you play good. Oh, thank you. Thank God. So that's just one way you can impact someone's life, and I'm glad you have this podcast because it's been a blessing to many people, and you kind of like right now you're giving me a voice, right? You know, I always had the desire to kind of share, because I don't think many people knows about that my dad was pastor, or you know where I come from, things like that. So in a way it's very very como it's very como you get a relief kind of like sharing this.
And it's true because like just like we had mentioned, like testimonies make us united. It makes us be like, whoa, like for example with Eli's episode, it's like, what, like I didn't knew that you also went through something that I've been through, you know. So it's pretty cool because we don't know if this person is needing to hear what you have to say. And it's so true. I love like the perspective that you're giving, you know, in the podcast, and praise God for it because, you know, like so we praise God.
And it's really awesome the way that we even came up with you like being on the podcast, because
wait, I want to know how that happened.
No, because we were we were thinking of people, you know, and originally it was just supposed to be an episode of like me and Aylin, but I don't know why I was like, we need to have like a guest, you know. And
you're like, choose the weirdest one.
I feel like I kept praying, and I was like play someone in my mind, you know, like we need someone. And I was just kind of praying and nothing. And then I texted Aylin and I was like, hey, do you have any idea like who we can use for the like this weekend? And she was like, no, I thought it was just gonna be us. And I was like, I don't know, like out of nowhere your name just came in my mind. But out of nowhere it was like Ram, and I was like, I just thought of Ram. And she's like, I had thought about him too. And I was like, wow, like it was God's timing. It was God orchestrated. Like it was intentional, you know?
Because like in my POV, the way that I had it is like, God, like I'm blank. I need you to choose. I want you to orchestrate these 2 next episodes. And it's with my cousin, you know, he orchestrated for her to exactly be here in Dallas this weekend. So I was like, well, thank you, God, for the guest. And then Crystal tells me about Ramses. And I was like, I already had you in mind because I don't think you remember this conversation because it was during season 2. So like a year ago. Like a while ago. You were saying like, oh, when are you gonna have guests on the podcast?
I remember that. Yes.
So it's like I remember that I was like, like maybe I can have you, you know, like I kept that, pero no te dije, right? And so then when she said it, I was like, yes, like like it's someone that I had.
It was crazy because it was just like, you know, like it was just
like God brought that. I feel like for me, I know for real, you just hear like a voice.
It was like.
So like that's how my perspective is, where it's like, God, I want you to orchestrate it, and he did.
Great.
So that's
and it's
cool.
also crazy because you were available. I feel like sometimes people are like, oh, I'm busy, or like we have to schedule them out, but it just worked out perfectly.
We literally scheduled you like 2 days before.
Oh, for real? Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because like with the other guests, we schedule them like a month before, weeks before, and you're like the first person that we scheduled that same week.
Wow.
Well, technically you and Daniela.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like God is so intentional.
I know.
Oh,
so that was
and I know that your story and your point of view needed to be heard because I know it helped me a lot. Like I don't even know where my mind was, but I feel like just the way that you expressed things really just gave me, I guess, confirmation and like clarity on the season that I'm in right now.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. I know that if it helped me, it's definitely going to help somebody else.
No, that's true.
Yeah, I'm glad and I'm happy to share this stuff with mostly in a conversation way, because I can go to people, tell them no, it's just more like in a flowing way. I'm glad it's got open the doors. I was honestly not expecting at all because I remember what I was doing. I was like I think I was at work, or no, I was packing some stuff because we're getting ready to give out backpacks for like back to school. So I was packing everything and like I saw my phone, like, hold on. Oh, his face over here. Who is it?
You did a double take.
I had to do a double take, and I had to finish off the packing. And I go, oh, okay.
That's awesome.
No,
I wasn't sure because we had practice. I didn't know what time it was gonna be, and things worked out.
Yeah, that's true. And I really liked how you emphasized también where it's like it's true because like just what I always mention this, like in district we all know each other, but we don't know each other. We just know of each other. So it's true about you said, like, I feel like in district, there's not really much opportunity to talk to each other. I feel like we kind of
break that.
Yeah.
We need to stop that right now.
That's true. I mean, camp is coming up and that's also a really good
4
place.
days.
I know. And it's going to be 4
Yeah, we're going to be forced to talk to each other.
Literally.
No, it's because I feel like it's just weird. I remember when I came back to church, I came back and it's like everybody already has
Yeah.
their own friends, you
Yeah.
Yeah,
know.
that all little group there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like I feel like in a way this is opening an opportunity
Yes.
also for like people to kind of know like everyone's story, you know.
Yeah.
It's kind of bringing unity in a way.
Yeah, I think
Like
so
you were
too.
saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah. It's exciting.
Yeah. No, that's true. But what was I gonna say? So you mentioned that, or we just had mentioned that you go to the church in Arlington. Do they have an Instagram and we can like put it? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Do you
Yes.
know it?
Yes, IGKC literally just like that.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay. So we're gonna put in the screen. So if anybody is in the Arlington area, you guys can check out the church. They're a really good church over there. Now you have a friendly face that you guys will be able to see and will
Silly
welcome you in.
goose.
I know. Yeah. But I don't know if you guys have anything else to say or
Yeah.
want to add.
Well, not much. Just that I'm very glad to be here. I feel very comfortable talking to you guys.
Mhm.
It's been such a blessing, and well, I can't wait to know more about y'all. I can, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
But
No.
thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. No, and thank you for being here. But I think we're going to go ahead and end it here. Thank you so much for everybody that tuned in. And until next time, bye
Bye,
guys.
guys.
Bye.